Everyone. We are back. Happy Monday, first of all. Happy Monday. We are back with another Rising Ritual with Ray, where basically I give you a little juice, I give you a little energy, I give you a little momentum and focus to carry throughout your day. And the whole purpose of this segment is because, oftentimes it's a total Russian roulette. You wake up, you check your phone, and it's a crapshoot of whether if it's good news on your phone, bad news on your phone. So this is an opportunity for you to step into your space, step into your day with intention and focus and a level of energy that's going to get you through your day no matter what's going on. So what I would like to talk about today is like, why do people do the things they do? You ever just observe somebody or just like hear something crazy in the news? Like, why do people rob banks? Or why do people kill each other? Or why do people cheat on their spouse? Why do people do these things? And the truth of the matter is this, that although it may seem like a heinous act, every action is driven from a positive intention. What do you mean, Ray? Dahmer was a total serial killer. Like, that doesn't make sense. And I get you, but hear me out. There are 6 things that we need to survive as humans, right? 4 of them are primal needs, and the other 2 are spiritual needs. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are living in that lower rung, lower vibrational energy are people that are stuck on their primal needs. Now, when you understand the way that the brain works and the way that the mind works and the way that um, your unconscious mind really works, then you start to get like, okay, this is the driving intention for this certain action caused by this person. And you start to be able to observe. And that's what's really amazing about self-mastery is like you become the observer. You start to observe without emotions why someone's doing the things they do, what drove them to do the things they do, and why they continue to do it. So let's break down these needs because you're like, okay, you're beating around the bush, girl. All right, let's break down these needs so you can get a clearer understanding of what I mean by this. So, first of all, and then we'll go into a couple of examples. So, first of all, the first human need is the need for certainty. You can also refer to this as like safety or comfortability, right? We all have that need to feel safe or comfortable. Imagine you're in a relationship and you don't have a level of certainty. If you don't have certainty from your partner or in your relationship, what types of actions does that cause you to take, right? Versus when you do have certainty. When you have certainty, you're a little bit more relaxed, you're a little bit more understanding because you have trust, you have certainty, and you know that you both are on the same page. Same thing with a job. If you don't have certainty, what's the first thing you're doing? Let me look up another job, right? Let me apply for something else because I don't know, they act a little funny around here. They're a little suspect around here, right? So certainty is huge because it is that need to feel safe. Do you feel safe where you are? And if you don't, then the unconscious mind is going to get to work and get you to a space that feels a lot safer. Ooh, it's thundering outside, you guys. Get excited. It's going to be storming all day. We just got back from a walk, and I'm so glad we got back right before the storm started. It's that divine alignment for me. Okay, so the second human need, if you are, okay, that leads me into the second human need. If you are certain all the time, like if you know everything, you know what the lottery is going to be, you know you're going to win this game, you know that, when someone's going to call you, you know when all of the things, you know when it's going to rain outside, when you know all of these things and things become a little too certain, how exciting does life get? Not really exciting because you know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and all these things. So instead of just having everything being certain all the time, we also need a little bit of variety. also known as uncertainty. Now, variety is the spice of life. Okay, so it's what's going to help you spice it up, switch it up, you know? And so a lot of people have patterns that switch between certainty and uncertainty. You want to be in control, but you also like a little chaos, right? That's why people do addictive things such as drinking or smoking, right? It gives you that certainty. You know for sure the outcome you're going to get, but you also don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen this time, right? You know that it's going to change your state. You have certainty that it's going to change your state, but it gives you variety because, you never know what's going to happen. Okay. So, uncertainty is the second human need. The third human need is significance. We all have a level, we have to feel a level of significance. If, let's bring it back to the relationship. If you're not feeling significant in your relationship, and we talked about cheating earlier, right? Like why people cheat. It's because you don't necessarily have certainty, you don't necessarily have significance. So you seek someone who is going to make you feel more significant, right? Does it make it right? Absolutely not. But at the same time, there is a reason that people act and do some of the things that they do. So if you're not feeling certain and you're not feeling significant, then you're going to seek that in other places. And that leads me to the next one, number 4, love or connection. A lot of people substitute connection for love, but either or, And let's talk about like why people, like we said, rob banks or like why people join gangs, right? It's for that level of connection, that level of significance. When someone inflicts violence on someone else, it is because probably in their childhood they never felt significant. And that connection of being with a group of like minds, right? So what happens is we step into a space of, well, I need to do this in order to feel significant, right? And these are kind of like why people do the things they do, like on a lower scale, but also on a higher scale as well. Like if you're looking to become successful, you have to audit your habits, audit your actions, audit your thought processes. Because one of these 6 human needs is your driving human need, and then they fall into an order. Do you think someone who has the need, their number one need is connection or love, and then someone else whose number one need is certainty, do you think they will operate the same way? Do you think they will act the same way? No, they won't. They're going to act very differently because their need is certainty versus connection or whatever, right? If someone's number one need is certainty and then someone else's need is variety, like I like adventures, I like to spice it up, I need a little extra, are they going to act the same? No, their actions are going to be driven by something completely and psychologically different, right? So it's important to bring awareness into what your number one human need is, right? So these are the 4 primal human needs. There's 2 more, and I haven't gotten there intentionally, but these are the primal ones. Now, out of those 4, I want you to just pick out which one is your number one. And then look at your actions and be like, wow, some of my toxic habits came from the need to be certain all the time. And part of this awakening journey, part of this consciousness journey is the ability to surrender and not know what's coming next. But in the same token, having that certainty that everything is going to flow just as it should. That is the key to self-mastery. So we talked about the 4 primal human needs. Let's talk about the 2 spiritual human needs. So all of these are great, but in order for you to live a fully fulfilled life, you have to hit all 6. And these last 2 are most important for feeling fulfilled. And the last 2 human needs are growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. And contribution. If you are not giving to something greater than yourself or contributing to something greater than yourself, you're not serving the greater good, you end up becoming eradicated. Think about nature, right? If it's not growing, it's dying, right? And nature has so many multi-functions for every living thing on the planet. If you are not of service, it's going to be hard to feel fulfilled. So a lot of times people will get stuck in a monotonous job, going day to day, living in a daze, right? And feeling weakened by the weekend. And they continue on this hamster wheel every week, every week, every week. And although your job might have given you excitement in the beginning, that's because it was variety. It was something you had never done before. And it was certainty that you're going to get this paycheck. You know what I mean? But after a while, it got monotonous. It got mundane. You weren't feeling fulfilled. And the reason being is because you stopped growing. And what you're doing is not necessarily your sense of contribution. You're not giving back in the way that you want to give back. So when you get stuck in a job, let's say it's like working at the bank or something, right? You're working at the bank. Like, what contribution are you giving? I mean, you giving people their deposits and withdrawals, like, but that's not anything that you're doing. You're just facilitating that. So let's go back to some examples of these 6 human needs. I learned this in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Let's take, for example, this kid is riding a bike and he throws a rock in your window. What is your perception of that kid? 9 times out of 10, you will look at that kid and be like, oh, that's a bad kid, right? But it's the context in which you perceived that action that made you think that this kid was a bad kid, right? Well, he threw a rock in my window. Now I have to get my window replaced, and it's so inconvenient for me, and this and this and this happened, and that's how we fall into a space of judgment, which is fine. But let's learn a little bit, right? You only have a certain amount of context, and the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. So if you ask yourself, okay, well, what happened? Why would this kid just randomly throw this rock in my window? Was he being a delinquent child, or is there something more? And let's say that we find out that there were some bullies from the school up the street that threatened this little boy that, listen, if you don't throw this rock at that lady's window, then we are going to give your little brother a swirly. And they got the little brother, and the brother's crying. As a big brother, what would you do? Would you protect your little brother? Or would you let him get the swirly? So when you change the context of a situation, oftentimes we realize that the intention behind the action was a positive intention, and even when you talk about stuff like gangs and robberies, a lot of times people are operating from that primordial state because they are in survival mode. If you take someone out of survival mode, will they do the same actions? Probably not. Probably not. But we don't know that because we're just so quick to judge somebody on their actions. And I just want you to know that nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. If you give something a negative meaning or a negative connotation, then that's what it is. But if you seek to understand, seek to observe, you begin to awaken to this enlightened state of being to where you don't judge others. You recognize, oh, that person is in pain. That person is operating from a state of pain, of heartbreak, of abandonment. And raising that level of understanding allows you to operate in a higher vibrational frequency to where you can be of service. How can you take your life's experiences and convert that into something that serves the greater good. And you won't be able to answer this question until you take a space of observation, until you're able to observe how others behave, why they behave that way. What does my ideal client need? What are they struggling with? Right? Asking yourself these questions, or even just in a relationship, let's say you're not an entrepreneur, let's just say you're looking to learn to manage your emotions a little bit better. This is a way. Just knowing what, and you can start analyzing people and see what their number one need is in life. Someone who has the need for certainty is always like someone who needs to be in control. They need to do things on their own time. They need to do this. They need to do that. They need to do that. And honestly, like, certainty is something that I am learning to relinquish sometimes. But in some instances, you need certainty. Someone who thrives off of uncertainty or variety is like a daredevil. They will do anything just to get that thrill, just to get that adrenaline rush. Right? Someone who needs to be significant. They will do everything to separate themselves from the pack. Someone who has the need for love and connection, they will operate so differently. And sometimes when it's imbalance, it kind of becomes more of a codependency because they just need to feel that connection. And they will operate very, very differently than someone who needs certainty. They'll take more risks. Okay? And then growth and contribution. Those are the last two needs. You need those two in order to have a fulfilled life. So if you have 2, 3, or even all 4 of those primal needs ahead of growth and ahead of contribution, it's time to sit with self and audit your emotions, audit your actions, and rearrange some of those needs. What happens if you make growth your number one need? What happens if it's contribution? What does your life look like at that point? Right? Okay. I think I nailed the message in for you guys, but I just want you to take this throughout your day. And when someone pisses you off today, which it'll probably happen because, people are people, ask yourself, what human need are they operating from? And seek to understand. All right. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for tapping in. I also wanted to let you know that Sahat and myself, we wrote a ebook just for you. We found that there are 7 biggest mistakes that people are making after their spiritual awakening. And we wrote down those 7 mistakes and hacks on how to overcome them. The truth is, if you're stepping into your awakening phase, you probably don't even know you're doing these things. These are unconscious mistakes. So check out 7spiritualmistakes.com and get your free ebook today. That's 7, the number 7, spiritualmistakes.com, and get your free ebook from us today. I'm streaming on multiple platforms. So if you guys were tapping in from Instagram, shout out to you guys. I don't see your chat on the screen that I'm on, but I love you. Thank you for tapping in, for timing in, tapping in. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but thank you. I appreciate you. And then also, for everyone on YouTube and Facebook, I appreciate you all as well. Y'all have a beautiful, magical, and manifesting day. And hey, audit your actions, audit your habits, and recognize what 6 human needs are you operating from. This has been Rising Rituals with Ray. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Blessings.